Have you ever wondered why only a small percentage of English learners get to a really high level of fluency in English? What's special about these learners? Are they just naturally talented? Do they spend huge amounts of money getting the best resources, the best teachers in the world, and that's how they got there? Like seriously, what sets these people apart? What's their secret? Well, there is no one right way to answer this, and it really depends on each individual person. Every person has their own needs, goals, challenges, and how they uniquely navigate through these complexities is what ultimately leads them to success, failure, or somewhere in between. Now, highly proficient non-native English speakers, those that make you go, wow, what's your secret for speaking English so fluently with such an amazing accent, etc., they do have something in common. During their English mastery process, they all incorporated 4 mindsets that are essential for English speaking success. These 4 mindsets have the power to completely transform your learning and empower you in your English journey. So in this video, together with your fellow English heroes, we'll discuss these 4 mindsets, what they are, what they allow you to do, and how they impact your English fluency development. With that out of the way, let's now get into this mindset exploring adventure. Let's do that together right now. Today we're diving into the power of mindset in effective English learning. I've been sharing a question that we are gonna use to get us talking about this topic. What qualities do you believe contribute to a positive mindset for effective English learning? What comes to mind when you hear that, when you consider that question?
One of the positive mindset that you can have is related to be able to communicate in English without the fear of making mistakes, but also without the idea of being perfect. That's a positive mindset. If you try to be perfect, if you try to be like a native speaker, you can be, frustrated.
So Alex here shares his thoughts on 2 things, confidence and fear, but I believe there is another element in this dance between fear and confidence, which is courage. Because between fear and confidence, I think there is courage. Many times we are fearful we are gonna make mistakes, or we are scared to use our English, and that doesn't change until we work up the courage by actually taking action and starting to speak English despite having that initial fear. That's how we end up gaining confidence, and it's this idea that the actions of confidence come first, the feelings of confidence come later. Anyone else? Anything that comes to mind for you?
Regarding the question, I would say judgment. So ourselves and toward others. Once we take out that judgmental, I would say, mindset, it is easier to learn English. In my case, that prevented me from open my mouth and really speak English. I've been learning English for a long time, maybe more than 30 years. That is a shame. I feel bad sometimes that I say this, that I've been learning English for a long time. And it wasn't until 3 years ago that I started to open my mouth and speak English. And I would speak perfectly English in my mind to myself, but not to others.
I love what Carmela says here because it shows that with a mindset shift, you can create massive results in your English. She spent 30 years studying English, learning English, but not really using it. And it wasn't until something clicked, something in her mindset changed, that she then started to speak English confidently. It might be that she actually started taking action and thought, okay, let's just not wait for confidence anymore and let's just start doing it. And that's how confidence came, by actually taking action. And that's how you actually create confidence in your life and in your speaking.
So I think for me, the most important thing is to take out of that self-judgment out of my brain, to embrace those mistakes and to learn from each other, from other people's mistakes and from your own mistake. And I'm applying it.
That's one of the main things. I remember like making a video, writing a blog on the typical sorry for my bad English. A lot of people feel the need to clarify that after they open their mouth. They say something and then they apologize and sorry for my bad English. And it's something that it's always caught my attention and started to think a little bit more deeply why that happens. And I came to this idea of fear of being judged and foreign language anxiety, a very particular type of anxiety us English learners have when we speak English. We're anxious about being judged.
I would say in the positive way would be knowing your why, knowing why are you learning English,
Wow,
knowing what is your goal. For
Mhm.
me, one thing that I always remember why I'm learning English. In my
Yeah,
case, I want to be an ESL teacher. So in order to achieve that, I need to open my mouth and speak,
absolutely.
but speak like in a way that my student would say, "Wow, I want to speak like you."
Yeah, once you know your why, what you're doing something, what your purpose is, and if the activity of learning English is connected with that purpose, you are gonna figure out the how to do it. That's one of the main, probably the most important thing I would say, Carmela. So I agree with that. And we're gonna talk about, of course, as I said before, the 4 types of mindsets. And the first of them is probably like the least surprising one. You probably have heard of growth mindset before. And so a growth mindset is the tendency for people to believe that their abilities can be developed through hard work. With a growth mindset, you try harder, you want to learn new strategies, and you seek out feedback when you are stuck. One way to develop a growth mindset is to learn a bit more about neuroplasticity, or the brain's ability to change and grow. Indeed, we have the power to change our brains, learn new things, and develop new skills. When we have a mindset that believes this fully, we're more likely to put in the effort required to learn and grow, which helps us improve our lives in a multitude of ways. We're just relating the growth mindset to learning English, but of course, it's much more broader than just that.
Totally agree. When you read the explanation, I thought exactly the same way. Like we have to do hard work. When I put some effort, I could achieve some results.
This is a great point by Agnieszka. If you work hard, results are going to come. And if you are willing to work hard, it means that you do have a growth mindset because you believe that you can improve by working hard. You see the connection between effort and results. Whereas if you had a fixed mindset, you would think that your skills and your ability was predetermined, fixed, and unchangeable. And so you would be just stuck on this mindset that you can't change, and therefore, why would you even care? How can having a growth mindset help you improve your English? How can a fixed mindset hinder your ability to improve?
If you have a fixed mindset, you start to doubt yourself about your learning, about your English skills.
I made a video a long time ago about the 3 things that keep you semi-fluent, and one of them is lack of self-belief or self-doubt on the negative side. And I believe that's a fixed mindset. Self-doubt is a fixed mindset. Having self-belief is the growth mindset because you know that you can improve. And when you know that, you're motivated to take action, try harder. By the way, another thing that I wanted to mention, I think you did mention it too, creating new pathways in your brain. And in the text here, it says, we have the power to change our brains, learn new things, and develop new skills. And this part of changing your brain is important because I think that with a growth mindset, we can do that. And what that means for us speaking English is that we gain this thing that I believe is fundamental, is crucial for fluency, which is automaticity. If you're fluent in English, you're going to be able to use your English automatically in a lot of ways.
Right.
You will be able to reduce all this time that you need to translate what you're thinking into words. It's a lot easier when it's automatic, and that comes with really, creating this new neural pathways in your brain.
I'd like to add when it comes to what you said. ability to change our brain is something that happens automatically. We need to have some habits in order to have this kind of automaticity, right? If you have some habits like reading or watching regularly something in English, we develop automaticity.
Yeah, with a growth mindset, you do more things, you take more action, you create more habits, and that eventually leads you to better results. And it's a loop that constantly reinforces itself. And the same thing can happen if it was in the negative side. If you had a fixed mindset, self-doubt, I'm not gonna do as much and I'm not gonna get as many results. And that's gonna reinforce the fact that maybe I can improve. Now, as I'm releasing this video you're watching right now, I'm also launching the Heroic English podcast. And in this video, we are gonna explore these mindsets through a conversation that I had with the Heroic English crew in these Heroic English meetups that we have every week, which, by the way, if you want to join, let me know, or just go to heroicenglish.com and sign up there. So we are meeting every week, and we've decided to start to turn these conversations into a podcast, and that is what you now can get in all major podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple, you name it. Every single podcast platform there is out there, you're gonna find the Heroic English podcast there. So I'd encourage you to expand on what you're gonna see in this video, which is really like a condensed, more compact version of the long form podcast that is available in all podcast platforms, and also in my other YouTube channel, Heroic English. That's where you can also get the video of this podcast. So growth mindset is one of the 4 mindsets for English speaking fluency. Now, the second mindset is a positive mindset. Let's explore that a little bit more deeply. A positive mindset is the tendency to focus on the good things in life rather than the bad. People with a positive mindset may use strategies like gratitude, reappraisal, and savoring to identify the good things and increase their positive emotions. Their attitudes are generally optimistic and they tend to expect the best. Here are the definitions of these two words. Reappraisal is when you change how you think about something to feel better. It is like looking at a situation in a more positive way to handle your feelings. And savoring, imagine you're eating something and you're savoring because it's so rich and tasty. Is enjoying and appreciating good moments. It's like taking time to taste and enjoy the good things around you. All right, guys. So a positive mindset, savoring the good things in life, reappraising, meaning, right, something bad happened, but let's just look at it in a positive light. Yeah, what comes to mind when we talk about this? And maybe you just want to answer the question, what's one thing you can celebrate about your English?
When I'm trying to deliver my message to the others and the others understand me, it's something grateful for me, and I feel that I did something good.
I love what Ahmed is explaining here. Just the fact that you can get yourself understood by other people, that's a great reason to be grateful for. As you progress in your English learning journey, maybe that is something that you start to leave behind. You take it for granted that, okay, people are going to understand me. But, it's always something that you can go back to and just feel the sense of gratitude because you are understood. It's not only that you can understand English, which in and of itself is a great reason to be grateful, but also you can be understood by others when you are speaking English. Yeah, so Alex, you mentioned something at the beginning of the meetup. Actually made me realize that I feel the same way when I listen to songs that I used to listen back in 2009, 2010 in English. And actually, probably, Carmela, you don't know much about my story, but I used to, and I shared this with you guys before, probably but the spark that motivated me to learn English was because I wanted to understand the rap songs that I was listening to back in the day. I'm talking about 2009, 2008, because I really enjoyed them. I loved them so much, and I was such a big rap fan. But I didn't know what they were rapping about, and that kept bothering me. Till one day I said, okay, I'm going to learn more vocabulary. That led me to, okay, I can understand the words. Now I want to put them together. So I'm going to learn grammar. I'm going to practice my pronunciation so that I can actually start speaking. Well, and I was listening to these songs, only understanding separate words, really couldn't connect the dots of what they were saying or anything. And I stopped listening to these songs for years. And nowadays I'm listening more again. And I'm listening to some of these songs that I haven't listened in a decade. And now it's so clear. I can understand pretty much 100% of what they're saying. This contrast that really makes me go, wow, I'm really enjoying this and feel grateful about like all the progress that I've been able to make in these 10 years. And that's for me when I'm savoring the moment. I'm really appreciate that moment. So we've already explored the growth mindset and the positive mindset. Now let's focus on our third mindset for speaking English fluently, the entrepreneurial mindset. Anyone wants to take a guess what that could be? Entrepreneurial. Of course, you know what an entrepreneur is. Someone who is trying to build a company, build a product or a service, something they want to make money from, right? An entrepreneur, but an entrepreneurial mindset. How can that connect with English learning? I'll read this and let's discuss. An entrepreneurial mindset is helpful for those who want to be entrepreneurs, but it's also a really useful mindset for all of us in the modern world. Modern life is undergoing near constant change, and the types of skills needed for entrepreneurship are the same skills that are most useful in adapting to and coping with, which means dealing effectively with, rapid change and uncertainty. That's why an entrepreneurial mindset can be a crucial mindset to develop. And there are a couple of attributes that make up an entrepreneurial mindset. Comfort with risk. You can make the connection there with English, right? Being comfortable with risk, or being comfortable with being uncomfortable too, getting out of that comfort zone. Creativity and innovation, critical thinking and problem solving, great things for looking at issues or problems in your English learning development through the lenses of problem solving and saying, okay, this is a great challenge for me to take on and see how I can solve this problem. Anyway, initiative and self-reliance, communication and collaboration, future orientation, opportunity recognition, flexibility, and adaptability. So this is a big, big topic, of course. And so just choose one of these and discuss with your partner how can, for example, creativity and innovation help you with your English fluency development, right? Or maybe choose initiative or communication and collaboration. How can that help you? And that is just one aspect of what an entrepreneurial mindset is.
I like the idea of flexibility when it comes to entrepreneurial mindset. To be flexible when it comes to learn new things, when it comes to study. Try to always find different ways to develop your your skills. I like that idea of to be flexible, not focus only on one thing.
And by the way, another word is tricky to pronounce, right? Practice it. Right? Entrepreneurial, an entrepreneur. Yeah, I think everything that's changed in the world with AI, ChatGPT, Google Bard, all these AI tools, having an entrepreneur mindset for adapting or maybe integrating this as a tool for you to help you use your English every day. Well, the entrepreneurial mindset is going to help you adapt to see the opportunity in this. A lot of people see it as a menace, as a threat. Whereas if you have an entrepreneurial mindset, you're going to see the opportunity, or you're going to be better able to adapt to it. You're going to have the opportunity recognition here, which is listed. So I'd love for you to take a look at this list of attributes right here that make up the entrepreneurial mindset and consider which of these have you incorporated more in your English learning journey. And let me know down in the comments how you've used this attribute, this thing, and how you've incorporated it in your own English learning journey. For example, I know that I take a lot of initiative when it comes to, in the past, learning English, and nowadays with Heroic English, with this YouTube channel, there's a lot of initiative taken from me, and it's what allows me to keep pushing myself and to continue growing.
Agnieszka, so do any of these items stand out more for you?
Sometimes innovation, of course, like using ChatGPT to correct my sentences. And sometimes when, I don't know, he or he correct my sentences, and if I don't understand, I started to ask more, why you correct that way? So is that what I write is incorrect? And how to improve? Or sometimes when he proposed me more sophisticated words, I ask him, but just make it more simple.
It's a conversation. You have to treat it like that. You can ask it to simplify it, to make it more conversational. You know, there are many ways that you can play around with it. Absolutely. Yeah, that's awesome that you're using it. And that speaks to your opportunity recognition, which is one of the things that make up the entrepreneurial mindset. For me, I really like the initiative one, which is, the reason why we're doing this. For example, I took initiative. I said, okay, let's do this. Let's just gather up a few people that are really into English, that really love it, get in proximity of all these like-minded people, and let's do something that's valuable. If I have to just look back at the 13 years that I've been into English, there's probably a very important moment that marked the before and after, and that was when during school I noticed that we were learning a lot of English, but just learning, and the practice part was really, really scarce, right? And so that's when I said, okay, this is something that we need to stop. And I took initiative, and I did the same thing. I told my classmates, guys, let's do something to change this. Otherwise, we're going to become teachers that know all the grammar rules but can't speak English. So what can we do to change this? Here's a suggestion. Let's start meeting every Saturday at 9 a.m. and I'm going to bring a bunch of questions, and let's just have a good time, hang out, and speak English. And I noticed that after 3 or 4 meetups, I started to sound a lot more fluent, and I started to connect words a lot better, more fluent. So initiative it's a word that I love, and a word that I try to embrace and make it one of my core values, taking initiative. So the growth mindset, the positive mindset, the entrepreneurial mindset, and we're missing the last one. And I'm thinking all these things really turned you into an English hero. And I love the word hero because it really encompasses all the different things that you go through, you experience. Learning English, it's really a heroic endeavor. It's all about taking on challenges, and that is the last mindset. So let's wrap up here. A challenge mindset is when we face situations like tests or work as either something we can handle, challenge, or something that might beat us, a threat. It's about how we see the situation and our abilities to handle it, like skills, knowledge, and support. By viewing difficulties as challenges we can handle, we respond more effectively, even influencing our body's response to improve success.
The challenges, aren't they great? And when we face a challenge, remember we have 2 options. We either step forward into growth or we step back into safety. So if you embrace the challenge mindset, you are gonna experience a lot of growth, because that means you are gonna be stepping forward into growth much more often than just deciding to stay quiet, to not do anything, to just stay within my comfort zone. Whereas taking on challenges means you are going to be pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. And by the way, in our Heroic English Facebook group, we do these fun Heroic English challenges, which basically it's a speaking practice challenge where we record ourselves answering a thought-provoking question. This week's challenge, for example, is if you could meet any person, dead or alive, who would it be? So we are answering that in our group, and I encourage you to take on that challenge of, join in our group, take that initiative, and see the opportunity recognition in joining a group of like-minded individuals who are there to support you. That's one part. But the other part is also taking on the challenge of recording a video, uploading it, and, connecting with fellow English heroes. So do that. I'm going to leave the link in the description of this video, as well as in probably like a comment that I'm going to pin. So see you there in our group.
So what's an English speaking challenge that you've taken on that has pushed you out of your comfort zone? How did it go? Right? So it's all about taking on challenges and really seeing something difficult as a challenge rather than as a threat.
One of the worst experiences that I had when I learned to speak English, it was the first day on the call center, English or bilingual, and I didn't speak English. I didn't understand English. Obviously, I didn't understand even the numbers. 8, 5, 6, 3, 2, 1, 0, 8. I'm so sorry. Could you repeat again? And I think, oh my God, I will be fired. Today is my first and my last day.
So this is Maximo from Venezuela, and he tells us this crazy story of accepting a job that's in English without really being able to speak the language. So Maximo just went way too far into the unknown and realized that he committed himself to a job where he couldn't deliver. Now, for me, what's really impressive about Maximo right here is that we can see him speaking English fluently, even though he had that experience of hitting a wall and finding himself in a job where the spoken language there was English and he couldn't speak it. But he didn't really give up. He somehow found a way to close that gap, and we can see him now speaking English fluently, and he's actually working in an English-speaking environment right now. But for me, it's impressive how he is telling us about where he started and that first big barrier that he had to face, and how he's now come this long way and has improved a lot. All right, there you have it, English hero. We covered all 4 mindsets: the growth mindset, the positive mindset, the entrepreneurial mindset, and the challenge mindset. When you combine all of these, you truly become an English hero. You face the challenges, you see the opportunities, you're positive about your language learning journey, and you're always growing. Thank you so much for joining us today on the first ever episode of the Heroic English podcast. Keep learning, keep growing, keep living your English, and until next time.